Israel and Hezbollah continue to trade fire at Lebanon's southern border, but there are other actors involved, specifically Iran. Well, this week at the UN General Assembly, Iran's president, Maj Gen, said his country did not want to be dragged into a wider war, and yet it plays a larger role. So for more this morning, we're joined by CTV News military expert, Major General David Fraser. Nice to have you back.
Anne-Marie, good to be with you.
What is Iran's role in this conflict currently?
Well, Iran is a disruptor. They are using proxies like Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis to fight their war against Israel, and also to try to make sure that there's no political stabilization, including the idea that happened at the beginning of the Gaza war that, Saudi Arabia and Israel were close to having an agreement for normalization. So Iran doesn't want any of that. So they're using proxies to make sure that, Israel is completely off guard and, politically destabilized because of what's going on regionally. And this is what we should continue to see. But the same thing at the beginning of your discussion is I don't think Iran wants a bigger war and a direct war with Israel either.
You've talked before about how one of Iran's goals is to use destabilization to become a regional power. How?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for the longest time, when Russia was bigger than it was the regional power, and Iran was kind of, in the back seat. But when Russia disappeared, Iran really took opportunities to become the regional player. And, for decades now that they have been playing that role where they are the political, disruptors, the players that, the disenfranchised organizations like Hezbollah will go to. And, Iran continues to play this role. They have always, had an issue with the West. And they also want to make sure that the United States doesn't have a big place in the Middle East. So Iran will continue to be that regional player, and we should be looking at more, terrorist organizations being supported by this state actor.
When we look back to October 7th of last year, in the weeks following the breakout of war between Israel and Gaza, all along people have been saying what we don't want is for a wider regional war, specifically that involves Iran. Here we are potentially. So where does that leave us?
Well, we are where we didn't want to be. I mean, at the beginning, it was just the response to the attack by Hamas, and, Israel was fully within its rights to defend its nation and to get back its, 250 odd hostages. But, Iran again, took advantage of this situation. Hezbollah, as soon, right after that attack, Hezbollah was launching rockets into Israel, and Hezbollah, was taking advantage. The Houthis took advantage. You can't control terrorist organizations. So the regional conflict that, the international community has been trying to prevent, to a certain degree, they've just been warning the world that we don't want a bigger war. But these terrorist organizations have their own agendas, and they're opportunistic. Opportunistic, that as Israel is being attacked on the left-hand side, metaphorically speaking, they'll attack on the right. And, even the Houthis have been launching missiles in the last couple of days. So we were inevitably going to be into a degree of a regional war. But unfortunately, the one that we're looking at right now with Hezbollah is everything we didn't want.
This is what we didn't want. In case anybody missed that, we just had a little bit of a glitch with technology. I want to ask you about some new U.S. intelligence that came out that shows former President Donald Trump was warned of assassination threats from Iran. How does Iran use election interference to further its goal of destabilization?
Well, I think it's simplistically two things. One is just to make sure the United States doesn't have a strong voice there. So they will, just give, sort of, the air of political destabilization back in the United States. Number two is Trump is a big supporter of the Israeli prime minister, and that's not what Iran wants. The Israeli prime minister is doing very much to, fight for the needs of his country, and that goes directly against Hezbollah. Goes directly against Iran, and Trump's a big supporter of that. The President Biden probably uses different methodologies, more diplomacy than what Trump would be. So, again, if they could take Trump out, not that they saying they could, but it actually, Trump is not what the type of leader they want. They want someone that's a lot more moderate and would use diplomatic means as opposed to to, overt support of the Israeli Prime Minister.
As this conflict widens and the conversations around it, we always appreciate your perspective. Major General David Fraser, have a good weekend. Thank you.
Anne-Marie, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.